talk about the Nuggets and the Avalanche a little bit. Neither team obviously going to the playoffs. Do you have hope for one or the other for next year? You think one or the other can make the playoffs?
Oh, sure.
Year?
The Avalanche are going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to make the changes with Joe Sakic and Patrick Waugh. Waugh's very much involved in player personnel. You know, he's the vice president of player personnel. Joe Sakic certainly accepts and welcomes his input on all player personnel. They're going to improve the defense. I can see them drafting a defenseman #1 this year. They didn't get Jones, but now I think they're going to add a defenseman. I think they need to add, in talking to Patrick, they're going to add a little bit more veteran presence on the defense. I think they have enough scoring power. I think I'm not convinced about the goaltending like Patrick is. He said that he's the one untradeable player. They're going to get back to the playoffs. They were a little too high and mighty this year with themselves.
Yeah, I believe they're on press
the Nuggets, I don't know that we can even sit here and start to talk about the Nuggets because we don't know who the coach is going to be. And if it's Melvin Hunt, God bless him, but he doesn't deserve it.
We don't know who the coach is going to be. We don't know who the players are going to be because this thing has some more blowing up to be done. We don't know who the draft pick is going to be. We don't know a lot You the Nuggets.
If I had to guess, Golden State's still going to be there. San Antonio's never going away. Oklahoma City with Durant back. Portland Trailblazers. Houston with Harden and with Howard healthy, we assume, for full season.
Lakers are going to get a little better when Kobe comes back, and they're going to have a high draft pick.
There are 6 or 7 teams that the Nuggets won't be any better than, no matter who's coaching and who they are.
So
they went from being one of the top 4 teams in the conference to being a team that's probably not going to be in the playoffs again next year.
In this day and age, with free agency, with the trades flying all over the place, we saw that at the trading deadline. What's realistic for the Nuggets as far as getting back and becoming a contender if they do everything right? What's realistic if they do everything right? If they draft right, if they trade right, if they sign free agents right?
Try the question on me again.
What's realistic for them to get back into the playoffs and to actually become a contender?
You're talking about next year?
No. I'm talking about a time frame. Give me a realistic time frame for them to be really competitive again.
Now I understand the question because
no,
it's not the question. It's just my understanding of it. They've got to get very lucky in the draft, and what I mean by that is they need a lottery pick that's in the top 2 or 3. I think that would be a start to all this. They need, if it's not in the top 2 or 3 and it's like 7th or 8th where it's going to be, they have to get very lucky that their scouting department has figured out a guy that, if it's Kaminsky, is he an NBA player? Is he an impact player? Do they go for Chris Dempsey? Talked about the kid that is playing in Europe right now. Do you take that chance? That's number 1. Number 2, you do have to blow it up. You have to get rid of Ty Lawson. You have to get rid of Kenneth Faried. You need to get a coach that runs the basketball. If that's D'Antoni or whoever it might be, that understands that what Brian Shaw didn't and what the coach before George Karl didn't understand. You have to run the basketball at altitude. That's your best chance to win the second of back-to-backs, the second of when teams come in here and play the 4th night in 5 nights. So the NBA is going to try and get away from
East Coast road trips.
You've got to. Those are like grabbing 12, 14 victories just easily. And I remember an old coach telling me a long time ago, there are 12 nights where you're going to show up and you're going to be awful, but you can overcome that at Denver because of the elevation. Somebody told me I'm supposed to say elevation instead of altitude. Elevation and altitude are the same thing. That's a synonym. Some guy wrote me and said, you're wrong. It's not altitude, it's elevation. Elevation is 1,200 feet elevation or 1,200 feet altitude. Forgive me. So a coach that has a system, and that's where Chris Dempsey, because he says, it's if they run the system. No, if you slow it down here, you're not going to take advantage of teams that don't want to play here in the back-to-back. You got to have a great system. I thought George Karl was doing that at the end of the career. I thought he was doing a better defensive job. They were double teaming. They were, hiding guys in the corner. I thought they were getting better defensively. That George was just a runner. So, coach, get lucky in the draft. Get
something in return for those guys you're going to deal. if you
And,
do deal
yeah.
Lawson and Farid.
And get one quality free agent. You say one. Well, Gallinari's going to be a player. You've got some couple of young people. I'm kind of interested, as you've said. I'd like to see a little bit more Barton. I think he can be not a star, but he could be a guy.
I'm with you on all the
follow.
Nugget stuff. I want to on the Avalanche stuff. I don't want them to think they have to turn things upside down here.
Oh,
I think they've got a very good, powerful, potentially high-scoring group of forwards. I think they're fine at goalie. They need to go out and they need to sign a free agent or two on defense and also draft defense. And if they do that and they don't come out the same way they came out this year, complacent, believing their press clippings, I think they're a playoff team, and I think they can actually do some damage, especially if Varlamov comes through. There are too many shots on net. And also, people don't realize this. If the defense isn't good when it comes to stick handling or popping down in front of shots and blocking those shots, they don't get the puck up to the forwards all that well either. They need to do that better, too. They just need better talent on defense.